Hello and welcome to Coecast. It's episode 5.
Wow.
Feels like 1500 days have been since we started this, to be honest.
Oh yeah, and it keeps getting crazier and crazier.
Yeah, but I mean, don't you feel like it's the first slow day today somehow, right?
Yeah, there hasn't been, I guess every other day there's been some sort of big announcement.
Yeah.
And today there isn't necessarily a big announcement, but
Yeah.
I think it's starting to sink in how big of a deal this is and how long it's going to last.
Which reminds me, my name is Valur Grettisson. I'm an editor-in-chief at Reykjavík Grapevine. This is Hannah Jane Cohen. What do you do exactly here?
I'm the listings director and culture editor.
We just call her the Queen. We're going to go over the numbers in Iceland, how many are with the virus. We're going to talk a little bit about tourists and like why we're not closing the airport. I've seen a lot of questions about this.
Yeah, people are it's a controversial decision.
Very controversial. We're going to talk about a little bit about the Australian man that died here and a beautiful Facebook page that I saw. And we're running out of tests, like pins. So that would explain why not more are being tested here. I know I've been having like personal phone calls because of this. So we'll go through that also. So welcome to Coecast episode 5.
Day 5.
Everybody's waiting for the numbers, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
It's always about the numbers. It's actually a unique day in that way because we have now 330 people with the virus, the COVID-19. And we spiked up by 80% per one day. This is a new record in Iceland. So we have been around like 15 to 30 for a few days now. So 80 is quite a lot.
It's going to grow then a lot.
Yeah.
It's going to grow a lot.
We saw one estimate today. I mean, there is no way to do the math right now. Nobody knows how this will go. But one doctor says the estimate that like, the numbers indicate that this will be around 700 Icelanders that will get the virus. Of these 330 people, we have 136 cases that you can trace straight back to other countries. Most of them are from Italy and Austria, from these notorious ski
trips.
Yeah.
No one will ever forget the ski trips.
People
ski trips of 2020.
86 are what we call like domestic infections. So that happens here.
Does that mean like people? No, okay, sorry. Yeah, domestic as in within the country.
Yeah, it's like people that like we have the tourists coming here and then they transmit it to someone and then they transmitted that to someone else.
So it's an Icelander infecting another Icelander.
What's perhaps like alarming is that we are now we don't know we haven't traced over 100 individuals that have gotten the virus.
Yeah, you don't know where they got it.
Yeah, we don't know where they got it. They had this quite locked down for the longest time, but now we're like it's spreading slowly around the society. We have 3,700 people that is quarantined right now, and we have taken 7,900 samples.
Yeah.
7,900 tests. So keep in mind, this is more than 2% of the Icelandic nation.
Yes.
And
you have to think about it. This is all happening in Reykjavík, more or less. The grand majority would be in Reykjavík.
And We have cases in all parts of the country. We knew that always that would happen actually. Yeah. And the Directorate of Health said that was like foreseen. Obviously, they have very fine health clinics around them and hospitals and fewer people, and it's easier to contain them. So it appears there is not much of a focus on the countryside. Perhaps we want to go through one thing, which is the tourists in Iceland, and like why we're not closing the airport or our borders. This is very controversial, everywhere. And I saw there was a comment.
People have sent us emails
Yeah.
And there have been a lot of comments on Facebook about it. Basically, if an Icelander or a resident, someone who lives here, comes from anywhere abroad, they have to be in quarantine for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter how long they've been away. That said, if a tourist comes into the country, even from places that have infections, they don't have to be in quarantine. That's sort of the controversy. And I get why it's a controversy. In my mind, it doesn't.
And the thing is also, like, in the beginning, we didn't really know. So I understand, like, we didn't get any clear answers. Like, why are we doing it like this, but not like this? But the epidemic doctors of Iceland, Þórólfur Guðnason, he said on a press meeting yesterday, on the daily press meetings that they have, because it's very transparent, everything that they're doing, that they only have found 2 tourists with the virus of these 330. So they say that if they would have put all their energy into closing the borders and or tracking all of the tourists, it would not be worth it at all. Like, the focus would have been on the wrong places.
Yes.
Like, all of these, those that are contaminated with the virus, there are Icelanders that have transmitted to some other Icelanders. So keep in mind, it's only 2 tourists. So this is like the numbers right now just tell us that it's not working to close down the airport and focus on tourists at all.
It's also, important to say that while coronavirus is obviously going to have an absolutely severe effect on the Icelandic economy, to immediately close borders right now would completely devastate everyone. So I understand why it's controversial, but I understand why they're not closing borders.
Also, there's also that they say, like, these 2 tourists, how many did they transmit it to? No one. That's what they say, at least. The health director. It's like it's not a risk. But
it's Icelanders giving it to other Icelanders. That's the risk.
But I imagine that it could change, like, now when everybody has the symptoms or whatever. But when you're traveling, I mean, I guess that. Beforehand, like, if you're gonna get sick and stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a responsibility thing.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, if you're feeling down on the day that you're gonna fly, then don't fly, of course.
Yeah, don't be selfish.
Yeah, so I think you can trust that. In some ways, in that way. Also, and I love this story. Actually, we have this story in more extensive way on our homepage, grapevine.is.
Yes.
About how Icelanders have reacted to the death of the Australian tourist. This is an absolute tragedy. We do not know yet how this happened. They say that the symptoms are very atypical, how he died and everything.
Yeah.
So, and they do not have the answers yet if he died, if the coronavirus contributed to this man's death. But the tragedy is also that his widow is in Iceland and she's quarantined. And you can imagine how...
That's a nightmare.
Yeah, you can imagine how that is.
Nightmare.
So Icelandic women mostly, that's actually pretty beautiful. They have started this Facebook group that they call...
it's like sending all the love or something.
Yeah, sorry,
Ooh, we forgot to write down the name of the Facebook group. It does exist. We looked around it yesterday.
Yeah, what's the name again?
Oh my gosh, go to our homepage. Are we going to look it up on camera?
I have this in I don't know. Anyways, this homepage, I'll find it later. We can post it with the message, with the video. They are writing very beautiful messages about to the widow. They're writing poems. There's a very famous actually widow in Iceland, like a famous actress, and her husband was Stefán Karl, the one that was playing Robbie Rotten in
Lazy Town.
In Lazy Town. She also wrote a very beautiful message to her, telling that just how she experienced it in the beginning, and how she worked her way through it. And it's just a beautiful thing to do, and I really like this how Icelandic women are trying to support this Australian woman.
Well, she's pretty much in the absolute worst position ever, quarantined without you don't have your support system. It's a nightmare.
It's called With Love From Us.
Yes, With Love From Us.
That's the name of the group. and it's quite moving. I encourage you to check it out. It shows that the internet can sometimes be absolutely beautiful.
It'll be a lovely place sometimes.
Yeah. And now back to the coronavirus, the practical things. The pins are running out for the tests. It means that I think it's like the pins for your nose. It's supposed.
Do they do the test through your nose?
Yeah, in your throat and in the nose.
Oh.
And they go quite high in the nose. It's very uncomfortable. Yeah.
Gross.
This means that Decode Genetics have slowed down their tests. So a lot of people have getting cancelled the appointment with the Decode. I'm not sure if they're obviously doing tests, but it's obviously going closer. They're doing it slower. So a lot of people ask how do I check out or whatever, if I have the coronavirus. The main thing that you should keep in mind is if anyone has the coronavirus around you and you've been around the person, you have to self-quarantine.
Yes.
No matter what.
Yes.
If you're not sure if you have it doesn't matter. You have to quarantine.
Yes.
For 14 days. The same, of course, if you're showing symptoms and stuff like this, you have to quarantine. And you have to call your health clinic and you have to tell them that you are quarantined.
Yes. And once again, the symptoms, the most important one is if you have a fever and a dry cough.
Yeah.
But mostly it's the fever.
So if you try to, we have told people, of course, about the phone numbers. There is 1700. It's like a doctor's hotline almost. Yes. Then we have, of course, the Red Cross with the 1717. Both of these lines are very hectic right now. It's a lot of pressure on these people.
Yeah.
It's been in the news. It's unbearable almost. So go first. If you're in Iceland, go at covid.is. And you will find all the answers there, and
yes.
even links to internet chat with doctors, so
yes.
you can connect them like that instead of being on hold the whole day. A lot of people have been trying to get through, but they're just not getting through.
Yes.
But first, quarantine. Call your health clinic. If they can't help you, go on covid.is
yes.
and just find all of this information.
And it is in English. Covid.is is in English. They have it in Icelandic and in English. So.
And very good English also.
Yeah, it's good.
The economy. Should we go there? Or? That's adding on everything else. Icelandic government have, I think they have announced 3 plans to help the economy. All of them were more or less obsolete the day after.
Yes.
The central bank have done a lot of good things. Of course, they are sure that they have a lot of tools to help the economy. And I guess that's true, and I hope that they can do something. They've been doing more or less the same things that other central banks in the world have been doing. Can't actually say a lot of it in English. Basically, it's a complicated English.
Yes.
And I'm not. And anyways, but what is most what's most important to us basically is that the Icelandic government are thinking about supporting companies by paying 30% of the salaries. Then companies will pay 50%, and the workers, us, will take 20% in wage decrease, which is a bummer, and nobody afford this, of course.
No, that's bad. I know it might be a necessary evil,
mm-hmm.
but that will be hard for most people.
But it's interesting that if I've been reading of course the Scandinavian media a little bit and the British and the Americans, and everybody's trying to find this new ways basically to face this. And I saw in New York Times absolutely brilliant article about these bridge loans that they would loan everyone, all the companies in the US money based on how they have been the last 12 months. And they cannot lay off more than 10% of the workforce. They have to reinstate those that they have
yes,
laid
already,
off.
yes.
And basically just get America through this for 3 months. It's a very progressive idea. And I like that because the system of course needs to keep things as normal as
Yes.
possible, and it will cost money, and it will be of course very expensive for taxpayers. In the Scandinavian countries, there have been ideas about putting all workers, like all that are working in the Scandinavian countries, on like a payroll, like so they would be working for the government, and would not matter if they had not anything to do with work or not. Like
Yes.
if a constructor can't go and build a house or something,
Yeah.
fine. I mean, so it's like there are a lot of interesting ideas going on, and we hope that the government will basically go with the radical ones, because there is no other way to do it.
There's no other way. I mean, this will absolutely devastate Iceland. There's no way you can't even overstate how much it will if things get worse worldwide. So I think that the government stepping in and paying, I mean, you have to be very blunt about this. If things get worse, especially if tourism severely dips, which it will, half of downtown Reykjavik shops, restaurants, bars, they will be closed within 2 months. Yeah. There's no question. I mean, it's most important when there's an economic crisis that the average person has money to spend at locations. Yeah. So the average person still has money to go to a restaurant. That keeps restaurants in business. You know, like it.
And you can, of course, I mean, how are you going to spend money that, even if you have money, how would you spend money if you can't even go out, you know?
Exactly, so, yeah, it's a total nightmare.
So it's like again, with like the idea about the storm. It's like the storm is still going on, and you have the money, but you're just locked at home, and I mean, you can't go to work, and everything is slowly stopping because of the storm.
Exactly.
So in the end, I mean, it's pretty obvious that we have two choices after we have handled this virus, and hopefully we'll handle it as soon as possible. That is, go through like a very long and deep recession, or even depression,
for a long time,
or get out of it quickly. But how are you gonna get out of it quickly if you're facing like 20% of unemployment and stuff like this, and nobody has money, and everybody has like lower salaries, and who's gonna go to Tenerife in 2 years if they only have 80% of the salaries? I mean,
it's very difficult. That's like a very, very large cut.
So it's like it's bloody and it's weird. But the bright on the bright side, bright or not, but Alma Möller, the Surgeon General of Iceland, says that in Iceland we are expecting that the pandemic will peak around 10th of April, give or take 5 days. So, and 10th is the long Friday.
Good Friday.
Yeah, Good
Friday. That's what it's called. April 10th, yeah, so it will be a Good Friday.
Yeah, and
hopefully it'll be the peak, and then things will start to get better.
Yeah, so we're like, in April this will go as bad as it could go, I guess. I mean, we're seeing pretty high numbers, and it's very scary right now. So it will be interesting to see if, after that, if like Europe is going to handle their but then we have the US left, I guess. I mean, they could be later.
That's going to be a mess.
And the UK is like it's a very scary situation there also.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's bad. It's a lot worse than I think people anticipated.
Yes. So, keep in mind, also, borders are still open, everything is open, even the stores and restaurants are open, they're just empty at the moment. Reykjavik is absolutely weird. It's like, I haven't seen the city like this in 10 years.
Yeah, I went to a restaurant yesterday, and they're just doing these massive spaces in between tables.
Mm-hmm. They're taking the social distance very seriously. And the people are getting closer who have the virus, at least to us.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's not that spread. I only know about one person now. It's like, which is weird. I know more or less everyone in Iceland.
Popular guy.
Except the 1% in Garðabær, I guess.
Oh my gosh, yeah, put that in the podcast. Do we have anything more to say?
No, I think it's it.
Do you want me to talk about the High Five Club?
Yes, let's do it.
So, this has been COVIDcast, but if you enjoy our content and you want to see more of the Grapevine in its current iteration, this COVID-19 crisis is going to severely affect us. We survive fully on advertising, and we want to shift that model so we can continue providing content even in the current economic position Iceland is in and will be in for the foreseeable months. Therefore, we are starting a membership program called the Grapevine High Five Club. There are certain tiers that give you benefits if you just give us a few euros a month. It would greatly help us out, because at this rate, we're going to be in a very precarious position. So you can see the link in the description of this video if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening and you go to grapevine.is, there will be a big button for it. We would really appreciate all the help you can give us, because we really do need it, and we wouldn't be asking if we didn't. We are not, we would not be asking for support if we didn't need it.
Just also, please send us questions if you want to know something. I even got a phone call today. It was very nice, like asking about the pins and the tests. So, I mean, we're here in Reykjavik. We're very accessible. We're like, of course, dying from stress and a lot of work. But I mean, so it goes. C'est la vie.
We'll be fine. C'est la vie.
But thank you for watching. We'll see you back again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe and
stay hydrated
and keep your social distance and
don't talk to anyone.
Yeah, and don't talk to anyone.
Don't talk to anyone. Stay in your home.
And do the elbow nerdy. I mean, this is the only cultural thing I will never forgive.
It's ridiculous. I hate it.
Yeah,
I think it's strange. Why didn't I just wave?
Yeah, like this. Namaste.
Yeah, you can bow, you can wave, you can curtsy. Curtsy! Let's bring back a curtsy. Okay, we're good. Thank you.
Bye.
Curtsy. Bye.